Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Chelsea, and today I am bringing you another very large haul. I'm surrounded by chaos, I'm surrounded by books. I look like an egg, but we're okay with that. This haul is massive. So I have split this haul into a range of categories. I have actually split out my subscription box books. I've got my Lumicrate, my Fairy Loot and my locked library. I have got 3 books that I have won in a giveaway. I really hope you can't hear the chaos that is happening outside my window, which is, I think, a child with a whistle and a lawnmower. But now is the time I have time to film this, so I need to just do it. So I really hope you can't hear it. Yes, 3 books that I have won. I've got 2 stacks of books here that I have bought myself, pre-orders, normal editions. I've got a stack of books here that I've also bought myself, but they're my special editions. And then I have a whole heap of books that I have been sent. And this pile keeps growing and I forever feel grateful. So if you have ever sent me a book or an ARC or anything, know that I am getting to your book, but I'm also so grateful. So where should we start? We're gonna start with the one and only adult Fairy Loot book that I have got to talk about in this haul, because I no longer get this, and that is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. I actually have another edition which I'll just show you now, which is the Waterstones special edition. I think both of these editions are absolutely beautiful. When I received this, I was like, oh, that means that I can return this one, but I can't part with it. So yes, I know I'm a little bit broken, but that's okay. So I know a little bit about this book. In this book, I believe we have a human who is repairing robots and they kind of live out in the forest. I believe that is right. And then he rescues a robot called Hap. And when he essentially boots Hap up, who is also another android, he learns that him and another one of the androids that he cares for have got a very dark history. And Hap unfortunately broadcasts this android's location, so people come and take him away, and I believe the rest of the story is following our human, who I don't know what his name is, Victor, and the rest of his androids, robots, as they go to get this robot back. And I think there's like a love thing between Victor, who is a human, and Hap, who is an android, so I'm not too sure how I'm gonna feel about romance, because again, I say this all the time, I'm not a massive romance reader, but it seems that a lot of books that I want to read do have that in. Apparently romance is what makes the world go round, and I would never have guessed. So those are 2 of this massive haul done and dusted. Seeing as we are doing subscriptions, let's just move right on to Fairy Loot. These are in not the right order. So these aren't in the months of which they arrived. These are just the books. So book number 1, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I don't know an awful lot about this. I also feel like mine isn't very central, looking at it now. I opened these books, or I did. I no longer do book battles, but I obviously opened them for a while, and yeah, that's actually not very central. Anyways, who cares? The little blurby bit for this is: when 2 rival journalists find love through a magical connection, their fate depends on their facing the depths of hell together. So I'm guessing enemies to lovers, that kind of thing. Again, romance, who'd have thought it? But anyways, so that is one Fairy Loot book. Next up, we have got one that I pre-ordered, and then I took my edition back because it was a paperback edition, and we got it through Fairy Loot, which is 7 Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. I saw this on Ashley from a Frolic Through Fiction's channel. I remember her like reading it or something. Pretty sure it was her. And so I pre-ordered it because it sounded really cool, and then got it in Fairy Loot, so I returned my paperback, as I just said. This is like a murder mystery kind of deal. Again, not very central. I don't know, I think that might just be me. But yeah, there is a murder mystery and 2 people have to team up to solve it. So I like murder mysteries. Maybe I'll save that for October, I'm not too sure. And then we have got this one, which is Sing Me to Sleep by Gabby Burton. There was a bit of a sea theme recently. But yeah, I'm going to preface this now. These books, I don't really know an awful lot about them, if I'm completely honest. I probably know about some of them, but I don't know a lot about all of them, so just get used to me holding books up, as in every vlog, which is what I do. A duty to protect, a desire to kill, an impossible love. I think this is the one where our main character pretends to be Fae because she's actually a siren, and that's bad and wrong for some reason. And she then has to join up with the Crown Prince and become his bodyguard, and she was all prepared to hate him, and then she finds out that he's actually a decent guy, so they have to work together to get her sister back, or stop a blackmailer blackmailing her sister. Something like that. And then the final fairy loot book I have to show you is Silver to the Bone, or Silver in the Bone even, by Alexandra Bracken. I have not read one of their books for a very long time. The last ones I read were the Wayfarer series, and they're actually in my massive unhaul pile from the last time I filmed an unhaul video. They just haven't made it to the charity shop yet. So I'm hoping that this is a bit more, I don't know, I think this is meant to be a bit more adult, but I also do remember really enjoying that book. So we'll see how I feel. Driven by love, revenge and pure adrenaline, this is the stunning new novel from one of the top fantasy authors writing today. So we'll see how I feel, but I'm not going to pin all of my hopes on it just in case, you know. And it just makes sense to carry on with the subscription box train. So let's go to Illumicrate next. So we've got Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. Her life to appease a god, his life to save a kingdom, her lies to destroy them all. Another very shiny book. Wow, that is very shiny. Sorry if I've just blinded you with that. I feel like this is a retelling, isn't it? Or it's mythological. In the cursed kingdom of Ithaca, each summer brings the hanging of 12 maidens to get a gift to the vengeful Poseidon. For 17 years, Leto has escaped the curse's mark until now, and I'm guessing they somehow get out of it. She falls in love with someone I don't think she's meant to fall in love with, so we'll just carry on the enemies to lovers doohickey. Next, I know this is the most recent one we've received from Illumicrate because I unboxed it not so long ago. It is heavy. It is The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero Lacruz. Rena was a creature of the void with her whispering monstrous heart. I love this edition. I loved the whole box. It was a very, very cool box. Again, multiple POVs, I believe. Magic. God, who's whispering at night? Like I said, don't know an awful lot, but hoping I enjoy it because this book is just very, very pretty, and we love a pretty book here. We don't know if you've ever thought that, but we do. I believe this is the only sci-fi in all of these books, maybe, I don't know. Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. There are some very cool people on the back of this rating it. So Olivia Blake, Tamsin Muir, Shirley Parker Chan, Alexi Harrow. While we live, the enemy shall fear us. We are what's left. We are what must survive. Thrillingly told science fiction tale about the wreckage of war, the family you find, and who you must become when every choice is stripped from you. This standalone space opera is the highly anticipated debut novel from Astounding Award winner and Crawford Award finalist Emily Tesh. So I'm looking forward to this, especially as I'm currently in a bit of a sci-fi kick. I don't know how long that will carry on, but that is where we're currently at. And the final Illumicrate book was another one that was really anticipated, I think, for a lot of people, but I've never read anything from them. It's Witch King by Martha Wells. I know they write the Murderbot series, which are small books, which I should probably look into because I need to read many more small books. I don't know what this is about, really, and I don't think the blurb actually tells you anything either, but I know there's a whale, or some form of a whale. So we're looking forward to checking that out as we go. And then the final subscription box books that I get are the locked library, so I have 4 to show you. Let's just get into it. Oh my gosh. So first up, again, not in any order, we've got the Valkyrie, which is going to be a retelling, I believe, or some form of, I don't know, that sort of thing. It was a place for believing in gods and monsters, but what made me shiver was that everyone was a god and a monster. So I think I read the first chapter for this. Our main character is a Valkyrie, a shield maiden of the Allfather, chooser of the slain, but now she too has fallen flightless in her exile. And then there are 2 other characters that I believe we read from. I remember reading the first chapter and thinking it was alright, and it is something that I will enjoy. It's Norse mythology, as I've just read, rather than a retelling or whatever I was bumbling on about. It's not big, I'm hoping I enjoy it. It's a very pretty book, so hopefully, yeah, what's not to like? Then we have got one that I'm definitely saving for spooky season, which is All the Dead Lie Down by Kiri Macaulay. This is like a horror-y kind of book, I believe. So our main character is Marin, and she, I think she loses everyone she loves in some kind of terrible tragedy, and she gets invited to this lady's house. She's called Alice Lovelace, and she is a acclaimed horror writer, to look after Alice's children. And there's like loads of weird spooky things that go on, and the kids don't really like her, and it's all very, you know, supernaturally. So like I said, saving for October. I have tried the first chapter, it does seem very cool. Very excited to get to this, and hopefully spooky season comes around fast, because I really want to read it. And then we have got The Library of Broken Worlds by Alea Dawn Johnson. I can't actually remember what this is about. Obviously about a library of some kind. I think I've read the first, I tried it, didn't I? I read the first like couple of pages when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to read next, and I'm not too sure how I feel about it. It's a thought-provoking new offering. Yeah, it's, I don't know, we'll see how I feel about this. I'm not sure. I'm hoping I enjoy it. And then the final book that I've got to show you, I also have another one to show you that goes along with it, and that is none other than The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, his newest release, his newest series. I believe it's called like the Library series or something. I have 3 copies of this book. So I've got 2 locked library editions because the first one came that was faulty, so they sent me another one very kindly. Their customer service is amazing. If you haven't tracked out the locked library yet, you should. It's a good one. Book only. Good fun. But I have a paperback edition which is physically signed by Mr. Lawrence himself, and I received a lovely note in it as well. And I'm sorry to say I'm yet to read it, but I'm very excited. I have got something in the pipeline. It's just taking a lot longer than I thought to go about this book. But we are following 2 main characters in this. One is Livera, who is born out on the dust plane and actually gets taken away with all the other children when people come to take over where she lives. And the other one is Eva, who lives in the library itself. And I'm sure they're going to come together in some really cool way. I just haven't got to that point yet, but these are very, very cool books, and I am forever grateful for Mark sending me a copy. I did shriek quite a bit, I think, if I'm honest. So there's that. And seeing as that is what I ended on, I might as well carry on showing you books I've been sent from authors and publishers. It's a nice little segue, isn't it, really? I will say, whether it's an arc or what, most of these the author has reached out to me, because most of these are indie books, but I will say as I go through. So the first one is the finished copy of Combat Codes by Alexander Darwin. This is apparently a fantasy book, but I'm still really yet to see the fantasy elements in it. I am still reading this. I'm over halfway now. There's been a lot of slumpiness and unproductiveness. Like, everything has fallen by the wayside for me. My health, my house, my reading, my fun things, my mental health, everything. So I am very behind. So anyone in this stack, if I have not read your book and you are expecting me to, all I can say is I'm so sorry, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. But this book is based in a world where fighters basically fight out all of the biggest problems within this community, well, within this like world, because instead of going to war, which they did many moons ago, they now have fights with one-on-one. So one place can demand something and another place can put up a fighter. They will go head to head, and whoever wins whatever they want. So land, money, taxes, I guess, anything. And our main characters are Seago, who is this, I'm guessing, orphan boy, because he just kind of appears. And he now has to fight, he's training to become one of these very lucrative fighters. Something like that. So he's training for that. And Murray, who is his trainer, and I'm really liking their relationship. Again, I'm yet to see the fantasy elements, but there's something there, you know? So we're enjoying that. That's a good one. Next up is the most beautiful PR package, or ARC package, whatever you want to call it, I have ever received. And that is from Carl Forshaw, who wrote Renia. So this is book 1 in the Lunar Runum series. I don't know how many books there are. It's a special sprayed edition. I have got number 7, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, I've got number 7. I'm very grateful to have a copy of this in my hands. It is the most beautiful book ever. Like, it's so pretty. For an ARC, this is my prettiest ARC I've ever received, I think. And this follows our main character, who is called Renia, and she's haunted by dreams of her past. She must learn to master her impulses and awaken her long dormant magical abilities if she is to prevent war. Fate, it would seem, is eager to grant her wishes, yet she must risk everything to pursue it and pay the bloody price it demands. Sounds great, hey? So very happy to have a copy of that on my shelf. That is indie. Next, I've got an ARC from Orbit. Like, what the heck? I requested this through Justin himself. He put out a call on Twitter for people to read his book, and I said I would love to, gave him all my information, and this showed up at my door. So this actually was originally indie published, which is fantastic, and one Spiffbo as well. I have read this and I've reviewed this. So this is also fantasy, very much fantasy. It follows our main character, who basically sets out on this quest with a load of misfits, which is great. And they have to carry out this quest or this task from the king. And there are so many plot twists in this book about people controlling them, people telling them the wrong information, juggling around information. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it if you want to check it out. I really would love to carry on getting ARCs of these books, but I know I'm going to have to buy a finished copy of this because I don't think they're going to print them this size. For reference, this is a normal UK paperback, so it's a little bit chunky. It's a little bit tall, actually. It's not chunky, but I think I'm going to have to carry on. I'm going to have to rebuy that in another edition, but I would love to meet Justin somewhere at some convention or something and get him to sign my ARC, because that is what I do with books that I love. Next up, I believe pretty much all of these now. I've got one. These next couple are from indie authors. First up is Wild Court by Matthew Samuels. I read Small Places a couple of years ago now, and he reached out and said, do I want to review his copy, his newest book? And I said, well, yes, of course, I would love to. And this is Again, another misfit story. I believe it sounds like there's a whole heap of different people that are coming together. Secret organisation is losing their battles to maintain the empathy levels that sustain our planet's barriers against nightmare worlds. And then it lists a range of different characters who I'm very excited to learn more about. So this sounds like it's going to be a very fun ride, and I really loved what he did with Small Places as well. So I'm sure it'll be absolutely amazing. Another arc is this, which is Seeds of War, which is actually in Spiffbo 9. If you did not know, I am a judge, so I have got plans for this that just haven't been executed yet, but there are plans. So this is following 3 characters, Gimlaw, Oberess and Rednow, and I think they have to come together, you know, to just fight in a war. In a world of dangerous monsters and devastating smoke magic, the seeds of war are being planted. Allies must be treasured and enemies defeated. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm very excited to get to this. Another indie book that I've actually been very kindly sent, and is also in Spiffbo 9, is this, which is Death's Disciple by Emma L. Adams. I can say this now because it's been announced. One of the lovely people on my team, Esme, has picked this as one of her semi-finalists. So I will be reading this soon, and I'm very excited to get to it. I've heard great things. This cover was actually one of my favourites from this competition so far. Or actually the whole competition anyways, because we did the cover competition. I don't think it won, unfortunately, but I love this. I think this is probably one of the best covers. And we are following a range of people, I think. 7 years ago, Captain Yala Palathar was a hero. Now, years on, she lives in seclusion in the deep jungle, ignoring the rumours of unrest in the capital following the end of the war. And I believe people come out to like try and find her, or other survivors that worked with her are getting killed off, so she has to come back to kind of solve the mystery. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a really good time, and if Esme has picked it as a semi-finalist, then it's got to be good, because she has some very good reading tastes, I have to be honest. Next up is another one that I have received from a publisher. This is from Tor and Black Crow PR, and that is Starter Villain by John Scalazzi. The thing that drew me in about this book are the sentient language-using computer-savvy cats, because I can't wait to find out what the heck that means. But I believe it's actually following like a supervillain. Inheriting your mysterious uncle's supervillain business is more complicated than you might imagine, so I'm guessing that is what we're going to be following. So I'm very excited to give this a go. It comes out in September 23, so I have plans to read this next month, yeah, because this is going up in July, and I think it's going to be a very fun time, and that is my hope. I think that's all of the... oh no, one more proper traditionally published book, and that is the finished copy of The Judas Blossom by Stephen Orion. I've read this, I've reviewed this, I've interviewed Stephen. I had a really good time, I hope he did too. But this is the actual finished copy that he offered to send me, because I mentioned that I would love a signed edition, because he gave one away on my live stream and he offered to send me one. So now it matches my arc of the warrior, and if I do again bump into Stephen while I am going around conventions, if there are any that I get to go to this year, next year, I will take my arc of this with me, and I will also get him to sign that, because again, it seems to be something I do now. The Judas Blossom, if you did not know, is now officially out. It is a historical fantasy, so it has historical elements woven into it, but Stephen has taken liberties with that, rearranged the timeline, I think maybe lengthened some characters' lives, I'm not too sure. And we are following 4 different perspectives in here. One is Hulagu, who is basically the one in Persia leading the, what is the word? Conquest against the whole world. Then we have got Kokachin, who is his newest wife. Kayvon despises the Mongols for what they've done since coming over and taking over Persia, because Hulagu is Mongol and he invaded Persia, but when he is offered the chance to work with Hulagu, he takes it up in order to try and further his people's resistance, I guess. And finally we follow Temujin, who is Hulagu's youngest son, and he is nothing but a disappointment to his father. So he has a very good character arc. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed this book. So If you haven't read this yet, read it, because it's great and you will enjoy it. So there's that. I think the rest of these are all indie. I've said that once already, but we'll see. Next, we have got The God Song by J.O. Solocom. I believe I am the first person he sent a copy to, so again, very, very grateful. Cannot wait to get to this. He is a UK author, indie author as well. Seems as though there may be multiple points of view to read about in this book. The last liner all have their part to play in this grand drama across time, across the stars, across reality itself. So I feel like this might be a bit of a timey-wimey kind of book, but that is not a bad thing. So I'm looking forward to giving that a go, as I am with all of these books. Another one, we have got The Tome of Haron by Damien Francis. I cannot remember if this is also in Spiff by 9. It may be. This is a powerful book made from magic with vast stores of knowledge that could shift the balance of a war brewing at the edge of Narine's borders, and one young man will become the keeper for all to survive. I love books where it's like, oh, only one person can like save the world. I do like the chosen one trope. It is a trope that I do enjoy reading from. Another one, The Hunters Lament by Steve Pannett. So this is following an infamous bounty hunter called Bittersweet, which, can we just with the name? Like, that's pretty cool. And he accepts a contract and sets out in search of the fugitive crown prince, but his crew are not alone in the hunt. Danger rides with them every step of the way. Rival gangs, vole soldiers, deadly trackers and dark magickas are all pursuing the heir of Praetia II. Soon Sweet and his crew have a choice to make, hunt or be hunted. And that last line is exactly what drew me in when Steve reached out to me and asked if I wanted to read a copy of his book. I was like, of course, that sounds amazing. Because who doesn't want to read a book about someone called Bittersweet? And I love a good magic school and a good heist and a good quest book, so it's right up my alley. The next indie book I was sent is actually sent by an indie publisher, which is called Curious Curls Publishing, and it is The Elementals by Abby Latanzio. Four Lost Princes, One Corrupt Uncle, so I'm guessing these four Lost Princes are going to have like elemental magic, you know, which I love to see, and I'm very excited to see what they do with that and how we run with that, because I think it's going to be a good time, as I think is the most used sentence in my vocabulary. But anyways, next we've got a standalone indie, so I always need standalones, and that is this, The Many Shades of Midnight by C.M. DeBell. Again, they put out a call saying they'd found some spare arcs, did anyone want one? And I put my hand up and went, oh yes please, if you've got one, and she managed to find me a hardback one. So I am actually super, I'm always super grateful, but like I'm doubly grateful because this is a hardback. We love a hardback book in this house. And this is following a continent called Alasia, and there is a mysterious enemy threatening the continent, and there is a discovery linking the contagion to the mining of Isirium, which is the most precious mineral resource in Alasia. It pits Alias against the powerful mining syndicates, and in a conflict that could have catastrophic consequences. So this, I've said it before, I'm very excited to see how they fit something that sounds massive, like a story that sounds so massive, into just this many pages. So we will see, and I'll report back. We've got two more indie books that I have been sent for review. The Return of the Knights by Gregory Contaxis. I'm so sorry. Game of Thrones meets Greek mythology in this explosive epic fantasy story packed with war, medieval lore, magic, loyalty and bravery. The first book in the series, The Dance of the Light. It will take you on an epic journey to a fantasy world of men and mythical creatures, which will keep you spellbound to the very end. So I'm looking forward to being spellbound. And the final indie book in this pile is this, which is The Daughter of the Ice, which I definitely know is part of Spiff by 9. Again, going to be included in a future project. And this is about Eriger, who is a decorated knight living out his twilight years in relative peace, who is tasked with leading a band of young mercenaries into the heart of the frozen plains to appraise the threat. But as they venture deeper into the icy wasteland, they will find the daughter's machinations in full swing and be forced to act before it is too late. which also sounds phenomenal. So once again, thank you to all of these indie authors who have sent me a book to read, review. I will do it. I am going to do it. I promise. Everything, life has just kind of fallen by the wayside for me a little bit, unfortunately, but we will catch up. Next, I'm going to just talk through some books that I won, because I enter... if you've got a competition, I'm going to enter it, especially if the book cover is pretty, and that was true for this, which is The Hero Interviews by A. Ewington. This is basically a compendium of interviews with heroes to kind of give an alternate story by the sounds of it. I'll read you the back because the back says it better. But it says, heroes, you can't swing a cat without hitting one. You can't even hatch a nefarious plan without some adventuring party invading your dungeon to thwart you. So it stands to reason they're a force for good, right? Well, yes and no. The Hero Interviews is a departure from the usual swords and sorcery yarn. It's a sometimes gritty, sometimes amusing, but completely bonkers look at the realm of heroes. And once I think I saw another giveaway beforehand, and I think I saw it on maybe Kay from Kay's Bookshelf's stories. Cover drew me in anyways, and there was a giveaway for it, so I thought I'm going to enter, and I won, and I'm very grateful because this just looks amazing. I love the colours of this series, and I just can't wait to give it a try. So it's going to be one of the many books, obviously, that I've got many books on my list. And then the other 3 books that I have won recently are these, which are the Chasing Graves trilogy by Bengali, who is also an indie author. So that's Chasing Graves, Grim Solace, and Breaking Chaos. He did a giveaway again for all 3 hardbacks, so that is what I entered, and I magically won. So I have got 3 more books to add to my never-ending indie TBR, but I feel like these are more sci-fi than fantasy, maybe? Oh no, a grim dark fantasy, sorry. So I'm really looking forward to giving these a go and reading them and seeing what my thoughts are, because there's nothing like winning a competition, is there really? Anyone else love winning a competition? It can't just be me. Anyways, next we're going to look at the normal books that I bought, and then we'll go on to the special editions I bought, and then that will be us done. So starting off with one that took the whole world by storm, it seemed, none other than Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, book number 1 of his secret project of 4 books. I believe this is it's meant to be like a fairy tale kind of thing. Apparently it'll appeal to fans of The Princess Bride, which I've not read, and it's a standalone, so I'm looking forward to giving this a try. I have heard mixed reviews. I don't really know how I'm going to feel about it, but we shall see, and I want to see if I join in on all of the hype, because I like to know if I'm going to join in the hype. Next is another one that I've been seeing a lot about, which is The Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks. So this has resurfaced because he's recently relaunched, or not relaunched, he has published a new book in this series. I believe it was originally a trilogy, and now there's another trilogy coming that kind of falls off the back of it, I think. So I thought I need to check this out. I need to know what all the hype is about. And I have read a bit of it, actually. There's my receipt. Read 36 pages of it, and it seems pretty cool. Our main character, or one of our main characters, is a street urchin essentially, and he wants to become an assassin, and he has asked the assassin to train him, and the assassin has said no. But I'm guessing he must say yes at some point, or he learns from someone else. That's what's on the blurb anyways, so there's that. Another one that I've been seeing, not everywhere recently, but I always see it in a Waterstones when I go shopping, is none other than Magician by Raymond E. Feist. I believe this is is this a cult classic? This is a revised edition, so obviously it did well enough to get a revised edition. And this was published originally in '83, which was a while ago, and it's a very chunky boy. So I thought, why not? I think I was trying to pre-order on Waterstones, and I needed to increase my cost to get the cheaper shipping. The free shipping, because I do free second class postage. And I was like, well, now might be the time that I buy this book, and I bought this book. Do Do I know what it's about? Not really. I think it's obviously about magicians. I think our main character is called Pug. He was an orphan kitchen boy with no family and no prospects, but he is destined to become a master magician. So we'll see how that goes. Another book that was also apparently indie published, again published by Orbit, is The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French. This is a trilogy, I believe, and this is definitely grimdark. Like, I've only read the first chapter. I read it in the shop just to see how I felt about it, and I think it's definitely going to be grimdark, you know? Like, I just have a feeling. And other people have said that it's fantastic and foul-mouthed and bawdy charm and vicious characters, so I'm looking for... It's following orcs, and how often do you read books about orcs? Like, not often, so I'm looking forward to giving that a try. Next up we have got this, which is finishing off the trilogy that I have behind me, which I obviously have to have in hardback. I believe this is this. Yeah, I got the signed edition because the signed edition was like £3 cheaper than the normal editions. And this is Lords of Creation by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I really hope I'm saying that even a little bit right. I can't tell you anything about this. The book in a series. I haven't read the series. Can't tell you about the first book. But now I have the whole trilogy, so that makes me feel, I don't know, a little bit better, I guess. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Another one which has recently released, and that's The Maleficent Seven by Sebastian D. Castell. I have read nothing from this man, but I know that a lot of people love this man. J.D. Ray Reid's being the main, like, shouter of this man's books, which is cool. I do want to read, like, the Spellslinger series and stuff, but I saw this was coming out and I was like, well, I'll pre-order it. And I believe this is about, like, war mages. 7 powerful mages want to make the world a better place. We're going to kill them first. You know? So, again, it sounds like a group of misfits, and I love a group of misfits on a journey, you know? Maleficent Seven, I loved, which is by Cameron Johnson. Maleficent Seven, even. This is about a group of misfits who are... It's like a villain origin story, and I love that. So I feel like if this is going to be anywhere near the same vein, I'm going to love it. I bought this because of the cover. 12 Kings by Bradley Bewley. And also Robin Hobb loved it, saying it was a breathtaking ride. And I was like, well, if they think it's good, then it probably is going to be good. So this is about an assassin's daughter who is going to uncover the truth that her mother knew, because her mother knew this truth, and then the 12 kings of this realm killed her because she knew the truth. And then they thought the secret would die with her, but she's had a daughter. So we're going to follow the daughter and see what the secret is, I think. And this is book 1 as well. And again, I don't know how many books are in the series, but I'm excited to give this a go. And then the other book that I actually constantly see everywhere, and again seems to be like an older, classic-y kind of book, is this, which is Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind. I was drawn in by the cover. I also was drawn in because it's a chunky book, and at that point I was kind of like, I would love to read a chunky book. It's very floppy though. So we love that for me. I don't really know a lot about this, but I always see this in Waterstones, and I was like, I really want to read that. I don't know when, because I'm kind of out of my chunky book era, but this was originally published in '94. There's 3-4 other books in this series. One man, Richard Cypher, holds the key to the fate of 3 nations, to the fate of humanity. But until he learns the wizard's first rule, his chances of succeeding in his task are slim, and his biggest problem is admitting magic exists at all. So we do also love not only the chosen ones trope, but the trope of people that don't want to be chosen. Because why not? In my last haul, I mentioned the book before this, but we've got the Sad Ghost Club 3. Last haul I talked about the second one. A week later this arrived, as I said in my vlog that it would, or my video that it would. Again, these books focus on mental health, centering around these ghosts. 2 of them meet up and become friends and then make this Sad Ghost Club. It focuses on different versions of mental health, mainly like anxiety and other things in a similar vein. I enjoy them. They're not too taxing. I like how they tell their story. I like how they kind of fix when things go wrong. They're good reads. They're short reads. They're the only really graphic novels that I read at the minute, even though I have got some manga on my shelf that I need to read, but anyways. Then we've got The Will of the Many, by James Islington, who is the author of the Lysanias trilogy, which I have on my shelves and I want to read, but I haven't read yet. This is his newest book. I believe this is about we're following, I can't remember what his name is, a man called Viz Temlis, and he has joined the elite Katinan Academy. He tells them that he wants to fight for them, but he really wants to bring them down from the inside. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that even looks like. So we'll get there when we get there. And the last two normal editions that I've bought myself are both indie books. First is The Umbral Storm, chosen by Instagram, I think, or Twitter, I can't remember. One of these was chosen by Instagram, I think it was this one, and then the other one was one that I've had in my Amazon basket for the longest time. This, Luke from Luke's Book Nook has been raving about, and he says I really need to read it. And I also have seen that Cassidy from Cassidy Reads, I think that's her handle, also loves this book. So I'm going to give this a go, because why not? It looks fantastic. And then the final book that I bought myself that isn't a special edition is this, which is Deathless Beast by Andrew D. Meredith. Yeah, like I said, this has been in my cart for the longest time. I wanted to give it a go. Deathless Beast is volume 1 of the Calatian Saga, the epic fantasy series. So, looking forward to reading that. We're on to the final stack. These are all special editions that I've bought myself. First up being, I think this is like the 10th anniversary, 5th anniversary edition of Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This was like a massive book, met like a few years ago actually now on BookTube. Everyone was reading this, there were special editions made for it. This is following our main character Laszlo Strange, who is the only person that is knowledgeable about this place called Weep. I think one day it was in everyone's memory, the next day, poof, it was gone. And then this group come through wanting to go on an expedition, and Laszlo has to seize his chance or lose his dream forever. So they take him along because he's the only person who knows anything about Weep. So, good for him. He's going on a journey. Next up is the second special edition of City of Ashes. So they're doing all of them in these like room cover editions, and are they stamp signed? I can't remember. No, they're not. But they're all like really pretty editions, and I have fallen for the hype for them. Created mainly by myself, so I bought myself that because I've got the first one. So I'm going to collect them all like that apparently, even though I'm yet to finish the series. We also have this, which I don't think I talked about in my last vlog, and if I have, take this out, like ignore it, but this is the Illumicrate edition of the final book in the Last Hours trilogy, Chain of Thorns. Very pretty. I have the other two in the Illumicrate. I also have them in the Waterstone special editions, so I had to complete the series. Then we've got Last Violent Call, oh gosh, which is a collection of short stories by Chloe Gong, which I believe follow characters from These Violent Delights. Special edition from Fairy Loot, very, very pretty. Can't tell you anything about it because I haven't read the last book of that, or this book. So I don't really want to spoil anything. But there you go. Next we've got Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. This I bought because I haven't read the first one, which I think is next to me. It's like down here. You can't see it, I don't think. But I knew if I didn't get this edition, no other edition would be as pretty and it wouldn't match and it would make me sad. So I had to carry on. Again, can't tell you anything about the first book because I haven't read it. One for my enemy, Oliver Blake. I haven't got the other special editions, so that's good. As in, like, I think Fairy Loot were doing them. And maybe Illumicrate, I don't know. But I got the Waterstones special edition of this book. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. But I really enjoyed Atlas 6, and when I was reading that, I was like, oh, well, I kind of want to try these. And this is about two rival witch families who fight for the upper hand in New York City. So that sounds like amazing, because I love New York and I love rivals and enemies. And I think one of them is a boy family and one of them is a girl family. And you know it's going to Romeo and Juliet, Rent, that kind of thing. So yeah. Then we've got Battle Drum by Sahara El-Rafi, which is the sequel to The Final Strife. Again, can't tell you anything about that book because I haven't read that book, but I had to get the matching special edition because I had to get them to match. And they're signed and they've got pretty end papers. So, sucker me. Final 2 books. I feel like I've been talking for an hour. I think I probably almost have. A full... Well, they're not full. They're from Ryan Kyle. So first off, we have got Of War and Ruin, the heaviest book I own. My gosh. This is like, I think 1,000 pages almost. Not far off. Oh, it is literally over 1,000 pages, really, if you look at all of them. This is the signed edition, so I now get all of the signed and numbered. I get all of the signed and numbered editions. I have number 7 in from, which one is it? Of Darkness and Light on. So I've got 2 that are just signed, and then 3 which are signed and numbered. And then obviously, because they announced it, I had to get the extra special edition of Blood and Fire, which is the first book in that series, and I'm now going to collect them in the signed and numbered editions in that for number 7, and then these gilded will take out a plane if I shone it at the sun editions too, and I've got number 535 in these ones. Oh gosh, that's my sticker. And that is the final book in this haul. I think I have filmed for almost an hour. I'm hoping to cut it down a little bit, but I don't know. So, there are... Let me count, and I'll say how many books there are in this haul. There's 55 books in this haul. Which is like 25 books more than my last haul. So now, this is my biggest haul that I've filmed so far this year. And we have probably like 2 more coming. 1 more coming. I don't know, we'll see. So there you go. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports me on my channel. Leave me a comment down below of which book you think I should start with. I have a problem. And if you just want to leave an emoji, leave me any emoji with your feelings to this haul, like a reaction emoji, because I'm interested to see. If you want to see more of me, please consider subscribing down below and ring that notification bell to get notified every single time I upload new videos. I try to upload every Wednesday and Sunday, so be sure to stick around for more content from me. But otherwise, that is everything for today's video. Oh, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.